She blamed pregnancy hormones for the bruises and screams. But when I locked the guest room door, she called me a coward. Now she's begging me to come to the hospital. I never thought I'd be putting these words out into the world. But the weight of everything has finally reached a point where silence is no longer a kind companion. Maybe if I put it all into words, maybe if I lay it out with brutal honesty, I can begin to understand the past 5 years that now feel like they were constructed on cracks and quiet collapse. My wife and I have been married for 4 years. At the start, it was beautiful. We shared goals, laughed over late-night conversations, lifted each other up, and believed we were building something real, something rooted in trust and shared growth. When she got pregnant 8 months ago, after almost a year of trying, we were elated. We held each other crying. We whispered names in the darkness. We bought tiny shoes and dreamed loudly. But that joy slowly morphed into something else, something darker. In the beginning, I chalked it all up to hormones. Mood swings, irritability, the constant stream of criticism. I accepted it as part of the journey. I told myself this too shall pass. I bent over backwards, adjusting to her needs, trying to be her rock. But the weeks passed, and instead of settling, the storm intensified. She criticized everything. How I loaded the dishwasher, folded laundry, walked too heavily, breathed too loudly in my sleep. Then the yelling started. Harsh words over missed texts, over a wrong brand of vitamins, over me being late 10 minutes from work. Then came the objects. A glass shattered against the wall inches from my head because I grabbed the wrong flavor of ice cream. My laptop was shoved off the table. Our family photos were thrown down, scattered, like the life we were supposed to be building together. I tried to have conversations. I brought up therapy. For her. For us. I reached out to her parents, only to be told to man up. My own therapist, a steady voice of reason, said this wasn't normal. This was abuse. I still tried to justify it. I loved her. I loved our baby. I couldn't picture walking away from either. 3 weeks ago, it hit the limit. I missed a call during an important meeting. She called once, left no message, and I texted as soon as I could. But when I got home, she was in a rage. She slapped me. My ears rang, my heart dropped, and then she collapsed into tears, saying I made her do it. That night I locked myself in the guest room, my soul splintering into 1,000 pieces. The next morning, I sat her down. Calmly, clearly, I told her this was abuse, that I was not leaving her or our baby, but I could not continue living in fear. I asked for therapy, real help. She left that afternoon to stay with her sister, leaving behind a note branding me as abandoning her, that I was weak, that I didn't love them enough to stay through the hard parts. For 2 weeks, silence. Only her sister texted, painting me as a monster. But I used that time to reclaim my space. I spoke with my therapist. I sat in stillness and let the clarity rise like fog lifting. Then yesterday she returned, heavily pregnant, red-eyed, and vulnerable in a way I hadn't seen in months. She asked if she could come in. Against every fiber of my guarded heart, I let her. She sat on our couch, that familiar space once filled with love, and apologized. Truly apologized. She told me that her sister had witnessed firsthand the behavior I had described. She had lost control. Her sister staged a sort of intervention, recording an outburst. She saw herself on camera. Didn't even recognize that person. That was the wake-up call. She began therapy, started medication. The doctor diagnosed prenatal depression, perhaps rooted in deeper trauma. She didn't beg to come back. Instead, she asked if I would accompany her to the 24-week ultrasound appointment, just to see our child. Not for her, for the baby. She handed me a USB drive, a video message she said contained everything she couldn't say in person. Hours passed before I watched it. In that video, my wife looked broken but clear. She spoke of her childhood, of watching her father abuse her mother, of swearing never to be like him, and realizing she had become what she feared. She walked through every incident, named her sins one by one. No excuses, just painful honesty. That night, I didn't sleep. I talked with my therapist. I weighed everything. And in the morning, I sent a text. I would attend the appointment. Nothing more, not yet. At the hospital, we sat in quiet. The ultrasound room was dark, lit only by the soft glow of the monitor. And there on the screen was our baby, moving, alive, ours. When the technician said, "It's a girl," something inside me shifted. A warmth I didn't expect broke through. Afterward, over cafeteria coffee, I told her I couldn't invite her home yet, but we could start joint therapy. We could have weekly dinners. Just talk about the baby, about the future. No pressure, no promises, just small steps. She agreed, tears in her eyes, grateful. Since then, we've met twice. We've attended one joint session. She's making progress. She still slips. So do I. But we are naming the monsters now, not running from them. I still flinch sometimes. She still raises her voice, then catches herself. We're learning a new language together, one rooted in respect, boundaries, healing. Last night, she asked if she could come home. I told her no, not yet. But for the first time, I could picture a world where maybe that answer changes someday. People ask me if I'm being naive, if I'm weak, if I'm a doormat. But I know my truth. Abuse is never okay. But healing is real. If someone does the work, if they own their wounds and the pain they caused, they deserve a chance to rebuild, even if it's not with you. Even if the road is long and full of caution signs. I'm not rushing. I'm not risking my safety or my daughter's. Every step is documented. Every session logged. There's a plan in place if things slip again. But for now, there's also hope. Quiet, earned, fragile, but hope nonetheless. And if nothing else, this journey has taught me one vital lesson. That loving yourself enough to set boundaries, to say no more, even when you still care, even when it hurts, that isn't weakness. That's the strongest kind of love there is. Thank you to everyone reading. And to anyone out there who feels trapped in love turned sour. Know this. You are not alone. You deserve respect. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk toward healing, even if it means walking away first.